Listen, your excuses are not protecting you. They're killing you, slowly, silently, every single day. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, that you need the right circumstances, the perfect moment, the ideal conditions. But here's what Machiavelli understood that you refuse to accept. Fortune favors the ruthless, not the ready. The men who win aren't waiting for permission. They're not hoping the world becomes easier. They're becoming harder than the world itself. Your excuses are a fortress you built to feel safe, but that fortress is actually your prison. And every day you spend inside it, the walls get thicker, the door gets heavier, until one day you can't escape even if you wanted to. This is Machiavellian mind, and today we're tearing down every wall you've built to hide from your own potential. Drop a comment right now. I destroy excuses. Because if you can't even commit to typing those 3 words, you're already proving my point. The savage discipline of unstoppable men begins with one decision: stop negotiating with weakness. You want to know what separates the powerful from the pathetic? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even opportunity. It's this: powerful men refuse to lie to themselves. You've been taught that excuses are reasonable explanations for why you haven't achieved what you want. They're not. They're elaborate stories you tell yourself to avoid the burning truth, that you chose comfort over conquest, that you picked safety over supremacy. Every excuse is a small act of self-betrayal, a micro-suicide of your potential. I don't have time. Translation: I don't have priorities. I'm not ready. Translation: I'm afraid. The timing isn't right. Translation: I'm waiting for a guarantee that will never come. Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by fear and ambition, and the ones who succeed are those who let ambition devour their fear. But you're letting fear devour your ambition. You're feeding it daily with your justifications and rationalizations. Dark psychology teaches us that the mind will create entire belief systems to protect the ego from discomfort. Your excuses aren't random. They're strategic defense mechanisms your weak self designed to keep you mediocre. Because mediocrity is comfortable. Mediocrity doesn't demand sacrifice. The reality is brutal. Every successful man you admire destroyed his excuses before they destroyed him. They didn't wait to feel motivated. They didn't wait to feel confident. They acted despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the voice screaming that they weren't ready. Comment this phrase right now: I am the architect of my fate. Type it. Own it. Because until you accept total responsibility for where you are, you'll never have the power to change where you're going. Here's the cold truth about tomorrow. It doesn't exist. Tomorrow is a fantasy land where weak men send their dreams to die. I'll start my business tomorrow. I'll get in shape tomorrow. I'll have that difficult conversation tomorrow. Tomorrow is the graveyard of potential, and you've been burying your ambitions there for years. Machiavelli understood that power exists only in the present moment. The prince who hesitates loses his throne. The warrior who waits loses the battle. Time is the only resource you cannot negotiate with, cannot manipulate, cannot recover. Every second you waste justifying your inaction is a second you'll never get back. And here's what makes it truly savage. While you're waiting for the perfect moment, other men, less talented, less intelligent, less deserving, are seizing imperfect moments and building empires. They're not better than you. They're just more honest with themselves. They recognize that action creates clarity, not the other way around. You think you need to have it all figured out before you start. That's backwards. You figure it out by starting. The path reveals itself to those who walk it, not to those who stand at the beginning, overthinking every step. This is dark psychology at its core. Your brain is wired to keep you safe, not to make you successful. Safety meant survival for our ancestors, but in the modern world, safety means stagnation. Your instinct to wait, to prepare endlessly, to seek certainty, these are evolutionary hangovers that no longer serve you. Drop this in the comments. Today is my only weapon. Because until you understand that this moment is all you have, you'll keep postponing your transformation until it's too late. Discipline isn't about motivation. Motivation is for amateurs who need to feel inspired before they act. Discipline is about destruction, the systematic annihilation of every weak impulse, every soft thought, every comfortable pattern that's keeping you ordinary. Unstoppable men don't wake up feeling ready. They wake up and execute regardless of how they feel. Because here's what they understand, that you're still learning. Feelings are irrelevant. Your emotions are background noise, nothing more. The voice that says, "I don't feel like it," has no vote in the Council of Champions. Machiavelli wrote that it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Apply that internally. Your excuses should fear you. Your weaknesses should tremble at your approach. When that voice whispers that you're tired, that you've earned a break, that one day off won't hurt, you need to become so savage in your self-governance that the voice stops speaking altogether. This is where most men fail. They think discipline is about grinding harder. It's not. It's about becoming a different person, someone for whom excellence is the only acceptable standard, someone who would rather suffer than settle, someone who's declared war on his own mediocrity. Dark psychology reveals that humans will do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So make your excuses painful. Make comfort painful. Create a mental environment where disappointing yourself hurts more than pushing through. Every time you honor an excuse, you're training yourself to be weak. Every time you destroy an excuse and act anyway, you're forging an identity of power. You're teaching your subconscious that you are not a man who negotiates with obstacles. You're a man who obliterates them. The savage discipline of unstoppable men isn't sexy. It's brutal. It's waking up when you want to sleep. It's training when you want to rest. It's building when you want to quit. Comment right now, "I am relentless." 3 words. Type them. Let them burn into your consciousness. Because relentless isn't what you do, it's what you become. Most men are cowards when it comes to looking in the mirror. Not the physical mirror, the psychological one. They can't handle the truth of who they've become, so they wrap themselves in delusions, in stories about bad luck and unfair circumstances. But Machiavelli's greatest lesson wasn't about manipulating others. It was about seeing reality with surgical precision. And the harshest reality you'll ever face is this: you are exactly where you deserve to be. Your bank account reflects your discipline, your body reflects your choices, your relationships reflect your character. This isn't punishment, it's information. Cold, brutal, liberating information. Because once you accept that your current reality is the sum of your past decisions, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the architect of change. Dark psychology teaches us that the ego will perform Olympic-level mental gymnastics to avoid accountability. It will blame genetics, blame the economy, blame your parents, blame society, anything to protect you from the scorching truth that you chose this. Every single day, you chose this. Your excuses aren't explanations. They're negotiations you're making with failure. "I can't because" is just another way of saying "I won't because I'm afraid of what it will cost me." And yes, it will cost you. Transformation demands payment in comfort, in security, in the familiar patterns that have kept you weak. But here's the Machiavellian calculation. Staying where you are costs infinitely more. It costs you your potential, your self-respect, your one chance at a life of power and purpose. Ruthless self-awareness means looking at your excuses and calling them what they are. Lies you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of growth. It means admitting that you're capable of more and you've simply chosen not to deliver. The moment you stop lying to yourself is the moment you become dangerous. Dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to limitation, dangerous to anyone competing against you. Type this phrase in the comments: "I see the truth and act." Because awareness without action is just another excuse wearing a sophisticated mask. Comfort is your enemy, not sometimes, not occasionally, always. Every empire that fell, fell because its men chose comfort over conquest. Every dream that died, died because someone valued ease over excellence. Comfort is a silent assassin, and you've invited it into your home, given it a seat at your table, let it whisper poison in your ear while you sleep. Here's what unstoppable men understand. The human organism is designed to adapt, to find equilibrium, to settle into patterns that require minimal effort. Your body wants homeostasis. Your mind craves predictability. Your ego demands validation without effort. This biological programming served our ancestors when survival was the goal. But you're not trying to survive, you're trying to dominate. And domination requires you to wage war against your own nature. Machiavelli observed that fortunes change, but men do not, and this is why they fail. The man who cannot evolve, who clings to comfortable patterns, who refuses to reinvent himself, this man becomes obsolete. You see it everywhere. Men in their 30s and 40s still using the same excuses they used at 20. I'm too old now. I have responsibilities. It's different for me. No, you're just more committed to comfort than you were a decade ago. The cage has gotten more gilded, but it's still a cage. Dark psychology reveals something critical. Humans become addicted to their suffering when that suffering becomes familiar. You know your excuses so well they feel like old friends. You've rehearsed them so many times they flow effortlessly. There's a perverse comfort in limitation. It removes the pressure to perform, the risk of failure, the burden of potential. But here's the Machiavellian truth that will either liberate you or destroy you. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot worship at the altar of comfort and expect to build an empire. You cannot prioritize feeling good and simultaneously become unstoppable. Choose one. Choose now. Because every moment you spend trying to have both, you end up with neither. The savage discipline of unstoppable men is built on a foundation of deliberate discomfort. They seek out the hard conversations, they choose the brutal workouts, they take the risky ventures, not because they're masochists, but because they understand that growth only happens outside the comfort zone. There is no transformation in safety. Comment this declaration. Comfort is my enemy. Make it real. Say it out loud if you have to. Because until you declare war on ease, you'll never know what you're truly capable of achieving. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your ultimate prison. There is no middle ground. Unstoppable men don't have better circumstances. They have better mental architecture. They've built psychological frameworks that make excuses structurally impossible. Listen carefully, because this is where most men lose the game before it even begins. Your thoughts are not random. They're patterns, deeply carved neural pathways that you've reinforced thousands of times. Every time you've said, "I can't," you've strengthened that pathway. Every time you've chosen the easy option, you've made that choice more automatic. Your brain is a prediction machine, and it's predicting your behavior based on your history. If your history is filled with broken promises to yourself, your brain expects more of the same. This is why willpower fails. You're not fighting against a single moment of weakness. You're fighting against years of conditioning. Machiavelli understood that the prince must be both lion and fox, powerful and strategic. Applied internally, this means you must have the lion's strength to destroy your excuses and the fox's cunning to redesign your mental environment so excuses cannot take root. Dark psychology shows us that identity is the most powerful behavioral force that exists. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. If you identify as someone who struggles, who tries but fails, who has potential but never delivers, then that's exactly who you'll be, forever. The unstoppable man doesn't use willpower to overcome excuses. He's rebuilt his identity at such a fundamental level that excuses are incompatible with who he is. When someone asks him why he doesn't skip workouts, why he doesn't procrastinate, why he doesn't make excuses, he doesn't understand the question, because he's not the kind of man who does those things. This isn't motivational fantasy, this is cognitive reconstruction. You must become so clear about who you are that contradictory behavior feels like a violation of self. When you say, "I am a man of discipline," and then you hit snooze, there's cognitive dissonance. That dissonance is painful. Most men resolve it by changing their identity to match their behavior. Well, I guess I'm not really that disciplined. The unstoppable man resolves it the opposite way. He changes his behavior to match his identity. He gets up. Because the alternative, being someone who lies to himself, is unacceptable. Here's your assignment, and it's non-negotiable. Decide who you are, not who you want to be, not who you're trying to be, who you are, right now, in this moment. Are you a man who destroys obstacles, or a man who's destroyed by them? Are you someone who executes, or someone who excuses? This isn't about self-help. This is about self-definition. The most powerful psychological force in your life is the story you tell yourself about yourself. Rewrite that story with ruthless precision. Make it a story where excuses don't exist, where obstacles are just puzzles to solve, where failure is just data pointing towards success. Comment this identity statement: I am unstoppable. Not, I want to be. Not, I'm trying to be. I am. Because the moment you shift from aspiration to declaration, everything changes. Everything we've discussed is worthless without execution. Knowledge without action is just intellectual masturbation. It feels good but produces nothing. This is where the theoretical becomes tactical, where philosophy transforms into power. The execution protocol of unstoppable men is brutally simple, and that simplicity is precisely why most people fail. They're looking for complexity, for some secret formula that will make transformation easy. There is no such formula. There is only this: decide, act, repeat. No negotiation, no hesitation, no excuses. Machiavelli wrote that men are quick to change their minds, which is why a prince must be ready to act decisively when the moment demands it. Your moment is now, not later, not when you feel ready. Now. Here's the protocol. First, identify the one excuse that's been running your life. The big one. The excuse you use to justify why you haven't become who you know you should be. Name it. Say it out loud. Look at it directly. Most men can't even complete this step because they've become so skilled at hiding their excuses behind sophisticated language. Strip that away. Get to the raw truth. Second, calculate the cost. What has this excuse already cost you? Be specific. How much money? How many opportunities? How many years? How much respect from yourself and others? Write it down. Make it real. Make it hurt. Because if it doesn't hurt, you won't change. Pain is the only teacher stubborn students respect. Third, create the anti-pattern. For every excuse, there's an opposite action. I don't have time becomes I wake up an hour earlier. I'm not ready becomes I start before I'm ready. It's too hard becomes I do the hard thing first. This isn't about positive thinking. This is about behavioral engineering. You're creating new neural pathways through repetition and consistency. Fourth, execute immediately, not tomorrow, right now. Take one action, no matter how small, that contradicts your excuse. If you've been saying you don't have time to build your business, spend the next 30 minutes on it. If you've been saying you're too tired to train, do 10 push-ups right now. The size of the action matters less than the fact that you're proving to yourself that your excuses are lies. Fifth, ritualize the execution. Unstoppable men don't rely on motivation. They rely on rituals. They create non-negotiable protocols that run automatically. Morning routines, evening reviews, weekly planning sessions. These aren't suggestions. These are laws you've written for yourself, and you enforce them with the brutality of a Machiavellian prince. Dark psychology reveals that consistency creates identity. You become what you repeatedly do. If you repeatedly make excuses, you become an excuse maker. If you repeatedly execute despite resistance, you become unstoppable. The neural pathways strengthen. The identity solidifies. The person you were, the one who negotiated with weakness, dies, and someone more powerful takes his place. This is the execution protocol. It's not complicated, it's just hard. And that's exactly why it works. Because easy things don't transform you. Hard things do. Comment right now. I execute without hesitation. Type it, then close this video and prove it. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must choose: remain the person he's always been, or burn that person to the ground and build someone new from the ashes. You're at that moment right now, not metaphorically, literally, right now. This video, this message, this precise second, this is your crossroads. And here's what makes it terrifying. You can't unknow what you now know. You can't unhear these truths. You've seen behind the curtain of your own self-deception. You've recognized your excuses for what they really are. The comfortable ignorance you once had is gone forever. Machiavelli understood that the most dangerous moment for a state is when it begins to reform, because the old order will fight desperately to maintain itself. The same is true for you. Your old identity, the one built on excuses and limitations, is going to fight back, hard. It's going to whisper that this is too extreme, that you can change gradually, that there's a more comfortable path. That voice is a liar. There is no comfortable path to power. There is no gentle road to greatness. The transformation you're seeking requires violence, psychological violence against everything you've been. This is the point of no return, and you have two options. Option 1, close this video, return to your comfortable patterns, keep making the same excuses, and wonder for the rest of your life what you could have become if you'd had the courage to choose differently. Years from now, you'll remember this moment with regret, knowing you stood at the edge of transformation and walked away. Option 2, decide right now that the person you were is dead. That version of you who made excuses, who negotiated with weakness, who chose comfort over conquest, he's gone. You're not improving him, you're not fixing him, you're executing him. And from his death, someone unstoppable is born. This new person doesn't entertain excuses, he doesn't recognize them as valid. When an excuse appears in his mind, it's like a foreign language he doesn't speak. He simply acts, always, without hesitation, without negotiation. This is your point of no return. The savage discipline of unstoppable men begins with a single, irrevocable decision. I will never be that weak version of myself again. Drop this final declaration in the comments. The old me is dead. Because until you kill who you were, you can't become who you're meant to be. You've heard the truth, you've seen the path. Now there's only one question left. Will you walk it? Machiavelli's final lesson is this: fortune favors the bold, but only the bold who act. Knowledge is not power. Executed knowledge is power. And everything you've learned in the last few minutes means absolutely nothing if you close this video and return to your old patterns. The unstoppable man is forged in the fire of consistent action. He doesn't need perfect conditions. He doesn't wait for motivation. He doesn't ask for permission. He decides. And then reality bends to his will, not because he's special, but because he's relentless, because he destroyed his excuses before they destroyed him. This is Machiavellian mind, and we're building an army of men who refuse to negotiate with mediocrity. Men who understand that the savage discipline of execution is the only path to the life they deserve. Men who know that their potential isn't a gift, it's a demand. Your transformation starts today. Not tomorrow, today, right now. Take one action that contradicts your biggest excuse. Prove to yourself that you're different, then do it again tomorrow, and the day after that, until the person you're becoming has completely replaced the person you were. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to Machiavellian Mind for more cold truth about power, discipline, and dominance. And turn on notifications so you never miss the content that's going to transform you from who you are into who you're capable of becoming. Drop one final comment. I am reborn through discipline. Now go, execute, become unstoppable. The world is waiting for the man you're about to become.